Don't engage alone. We do this together.
Yeah!
Yeah!
We got it! We got
New 52 book.
it! Somebody clip this one.
Welcome to Comics League Live. I'm Jared here for another member stream. I got Teladia and David. What's up, gents?
Not much.
What's up, guys?
So, boy, was this a week. So,
Yeah.
a couple of things happened. First off, how about WB possibly going bankrupt?
I mean, they keep making a lot of bad decisions over and over and over again.
And the same decisions over and over again. That's really the astounding part. But I find it very interesting how like Zaslav came in. We all thought he was gonna like clean up Warner Brothers and everything. And yeah. I remember when The Flash was the best DC movie since The Dark Knight?
Even James Gunn said.
Even James Gunn. Well, he's not exactly the best judge on quality, but that's just me. But to it. So, by the way, so today we will be discussing, in addition to anything the members would like to talk about, Zack Snyder and Netflix, and possibly a licensing deal. Warner Brothers going bankrupt, DCU stuff, Rebel Moon stuff, and all that fun stuff. But in the meantime, actually, first, let's start with this. What comics are you guys reading? And I will start with David.
Oh, man. I finished all of Deceased the last couple weeks. I read all 5 of them. I feel like War of the Undead Gods might have been the best of it.
Yes, it is.
And it was such a good conclusion for Damian and letting him be Batman and giving him the white suit. Everything about that was so cool.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what I started reading a couple of days ago.
Isn't that good?
This is crazy. This is some of the best art I think I've ever seen in a comic ever.
Silvestri. It's Silvestri.
And it has mystery. It has everything that a really good Batman story needs.
Yes,
it has
does.
Like really good like bad guy who beats him the first couple times he like runs into them. It's so cool.
Yeah, I know. And by the way, Randy has a perfect comment. Wait, DC making bad? Say it ain't so. Yeah, exactly.
It is.
Exactly. So, and is that all? But I gotta tell you, that series is dope, dude.
Yeah,
I read through the whole thing.
It's been so sweet so far. I read like the first 3 issues. I'm very happy.
With me, I've been reading Volume 5 of New 52 Aquaman, The Sea of Storms. I love this Aquaman run. And I read some more World Tree, which is actually a pretty dope book in terms of like computer hackers saving the world from nightmares, essentially.
Huh.
It's been really cool. Besides that, I've been reading. I'm trying to look at my shelf real quick. What is this over here? Oh yeah, this book called JLA JSA Virtue and Vice, where like the 7 deadly sins inhabit the bodies of the JLA and JSA, and we basically have a civil war.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, and I've been for the most part, I've been enjoying Tom King's Wonder Woman. There are some parts where I'm like, what? Like the whole
that military subplot.
Yeah, the military that everyone knows. I was like, but besides that, at least they're doing something with Wonder Woman, because it's like for so long she's like the third member of the Trinity, and the reason I do air quotes because it's not really a thing, but she's your third most popular character, and you don't do anything with her.
Same thing with Aquaman. Aquaman hasn't had a run in years, like a solid new run. Like Andromeda is like the newest thing to come out with him, and that's a Black Label title.
Yeah, the last good one they had was Rebirth Aquaman, like the first couple of volumes by Dan Abnett. Those are good.
Yeah.
It went from Jeff Johns to Dan Abnett to Kelly Sue DeConnick, and everything went downhill from there.
Yeah.
There you go. Everything went down. But I've been basically on a big Aquaman kick for obvious reasons. Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of that. I also got the next volume of Nocterra by Scott Snyder.
Ooh.
Really good. And a couple of Flash stuff from the new 52 and such. So like a lot of new 52 stuff. Teladia Knows Why. There you go. DC Kingdom. There you go. Teladia, how about you?
I've been reading New 52 Justice League, of course.
The best. The best.
We've been covering that issue by issue, week by week, and my God, what a coverage so far! Like the first 2 issues that I've read, love it.
Oh yeah. It gets really like nuts when you get into like the end with Darkseid War and everything like that, but it's pretty dope. I think we're gonna enjoy it. The first topic that I really want to get into is this basically happened last week, but obviously I wanted to bring this up and talk about what you guys thought. Okay, how about that comic book shop owner calling out the mainstream comic book industry, and then the comic book pros, the people that depend on comic book stores, start attacking the comic book shop owner. And by the way, rereading Kingdom Come, that's a good time, Randy.
Nice.
That's a good time. But so what do you guys think of the comic book pros not helping themselves?
I think that guy, that Comic Book Palace guy, I don't really know his name, but I know
Glenn,
the name
I
of his
think.
channel now.
Mm-hmm.
I think he may have said it better than anybody else has said, because everybody has all these complaints about comics changing.
There you go. He's right in every way.
Yeah, he was right in every way, that these writers that they're hiring are putting themselves in the books. They're not thinking about how Iron Man would fight bad guys, how Batman would fight bad guys. They want to put in like all these like social and political messages in their books. And a lot of people right now, like, we know that all that stuff is happening constantly every day. We see, like, we live in the most connected age ever. We don't need books to tell us what is going on in the world when we could just look out our windows or look at our phones or talk to our friends, and we know exactly how bad the world is. We don't need more of that in our books. We need a way to get out of it. That's the whole point. That's why all of these heroes we look up to. That's why I love Batman. That's why I love Superman. All those characters, they bring out the best in humanity because we can't really be them. And you can make totally fictionalized stories, and they're forgetting that part, that it's fiction. I know that a lot of writers, and even Stan Lee said it, it's the world outside your window. So when you read a Marvel comic, it should be a somewhat reflection of your world, which is true to a certain extent. But these writers are taking it too far. That's all they care about. They don't care about character development anymore. They don't care about plot progression. They just want to like ham-fist you with all these different messages, and they don't want to show you the heroics and rising above all these things that are terrible in our world. You can have all that stuff in your books, but you aren't expressing it. They're not talented enough to express it in a way that makes me believe in these characters and want to emulate them and think that change is actually even possible.
Exactly.
Okay, they're talking about fictional characters. Fictional characters.
Exactly.
He says it the best. But it's like, and the thing about it is, if you disagreed with him, okay, that's fine. I can abide that. But when they started attacking like his appearance and stuff and making fun of him, and I'm like, this is the dude that you're depending on for your sales. I'm sure it's going to get to the point when comic book shop owners are going to start telling Marvel and DC, I will not buy anything by these writers because they have insulted people. That's done. We're done with that now.
And to make it even like more apparent is people will stop reading certain characters, and that's when you really know you have a problem.
Yeah.
Like imagine if the writers on Spider-Man, they just make people so irritated by everything that's going on in the books that they don't want to read that character anymore. That means that shop won't be able to survive. None of those shops can survive without Spider-Man or Batman or Superman, and
More
not
so Batman.
yeah, like all these shops will just like they'll crumble. And it's weird how all these people who are trying to like debate that he's wrong don't even buy comics.
Exactly. That's the other issue is that a lot of these, here's the problem with what Marvel and DC did. They started hiring writers that are catering to an audience that doesn't buy comics and has historically has never read comics. I mean, even Britt Shebert brings up a lot of the times, a lot of the people on Twitter that claim to be comics experts are just posting like random panels and saying, this is what the writer meant by this. Did you actually read the book?
Mm-hmm.
No. I mean, I saw that in real time when they released issue 2 of Tom King's Wonder Woman. It's the one, there's like a monologue where he's talking about Diana's different origins. He goes, oh yeah, she was made by clay and stuff. And then the narrative going around was they brought back the clay origin. And then I was like, literally read the next page. Or she was the daughter of Zeus.
Mm-hmm.
You actually, it's astounding how it's the same thing with my problem with a lot of criticisms of Zack Snyder's movies. They're like, just watch the movie. It's that simple. But apparently it's not. Apparently it's not. What do you think, Teladia?
Like I agree with David, right? 110%. What David has said, I agree with. But I don't understand this logic at all from writers and all of this stuff. You get me? It's like,
yeah, it's because they think attacking your audience that buys your books is a bad idea. Randy says people seem to have forgotten that the point of fiction is to immerse yourself in a world that's not a world. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Particularly DC. To your point, David, Marvel does have that world outside your window thing, and yes, some writers have taken that a little too far. But even just taking Marvel and DC is not supposed to. When you compare it to Marvel, DC is supposed to be like the gods amongst men. These are who we aspire to be, not who we are. Marvel is who we are. That's kind of the point of the world outside your window thing.
Yeah, I agree. Like, Marvel and DC should be focusing on the characters, not the political side of things.
Yeah.
And they wonder why. And the problem is also when they treat it like, if you disagree with my politics, like if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. Okay.
People have no problem not buying a book, but it also makes me wonder how do all these books keep going? Like, there's so many that I see where there's like 2 or 3 trades, and I'm just like, it never even interests me to pick up any of these books. And here we are. They're 20 something issues deep.
Because I think what happens is either it's ego and the people that run these companies don't want to admit that they're wrong, or they're afraid of pissing off these writers, because we notice it's a very select group of writers that have series that go on for long, even though they get like piss poor sales. I think they're too afraid of the writers throwing a stink on Twitter, which I think that's about to change per se. I do think what's interesting to say about this with the comic book shop owner, a lot of these, I gotta be honest, a-holes, they have been exposed at this point. Yeah. At this point, it's like everyone now can see it, can see these people for what they are. And to quote Mark Millar, they're cancel culture pigs.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. And I would love to see a story of Super Wonder Son. We all would like to see that. We all would like to see that.
And this also brings up another thing of like, people have begged Marvel and DC to make certain series, and they just don't care. They're like, here's Batgirls, volume like 4. And you heard thousands of your fans that you want Super Sons, thousands of your fans that that Death Metal wasn't what they wanted, thousands of your fans that they liked the New 52. And you can even look at Marvel the same way. They're like, I wish Peter Parker was married because that's really relatable for my life, especially the age I am now. Because I started reading him when I was like 12, and now I'm like a grown person, and it's hard to relate to this like kid who's stuck in like an immature pattern and is never like gone anywhere with his life. When the reader has, it's really hard for them to like fully, I guess, relate to that character. Because like a lot of the reason why I love Batman so much is because he's always been older than me. And even like you can look all the way to the Dark Knight Returns. He's like 60 something years old in that story.
And somehow can still
so
be
he's
Batman.
always, yeah, he's always been older than me. And for me, that's been very easy to relate to. Like, oh man, I hope when I'm this age, I'm this good, or I care about people this way, or I in some way can be like him. It's really hard with Spider-Man where he's stuck at like being 15 years old, and he's always in like this cycle of terrible things happening to him, and like the Parker luck and all that sort of stuff. When the reader is like 35 to 40 to 50 now, and they still read him.
Your loyal readers, and that's the thing.
Yeah,
they traded out the loyal readers, the guys that like you, like all of us here, like all of us that hopefully subscribe to Comics League, all of us here. That's my shameless pull. All of us that have shelves and shelves and boxes of comic books, they basically told us, go away. You're toxic. Yeah. We don't want you. I'm like, at what point, in what crazy multiverse does that make sense? It's
like I pay for these characters to exist. I would like them to act the way that they've always acted, not this like new way.
And on that point with sales, it's kind of funny. If you look at like the whole Super Wonder versus Lois thing, here's the funny part. So remember that horrible Superman Lois and Clark book from Rebirth?
Yes.
So when that book was announced, and Britt and I talk about this on our show, when that book was announced, they were the Clovis fans were like, "Oh my gosh, we got to make sure this book does so well, so that DC will know that we want this pairing." The book opened to 30,000 and never got above 30.
I don't even think comic books get to 30,000 anymore. I really wish that they would tell us.
Superman Wonder Woman did. It opened with 99,000.
That even that, like, that would be unbelievable.
Super Sons started at 99 and then collapsed by 42% to like 40,000 and then never recovered again. And that's because here's the thing about the Super Sons and John Kent. When you think of the DC lore, like contradictions his very existence has, because again, he was conceived in Convergence, which I guess Clark was depowered, but I'm pretty sure depowering doesn't change DNA. So I'm like, beyond what Kevin Smith said in that Mallrats clip, which was awesome. But I'm just like, and that's the other thing. They also keep forcing these replacement characters, like, unfortunately, now John Kent, like Jace Fox Batman, if you remember back in the day.
Yeah.
And they say, no, these are now your favorite versions. And I'm like, if I go down the street and I ask my neighbors, who's Superman? They're going to say Clark Kent. No one's going to say John.
Yeah.
Yeah, Super One understand is Super Son. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. But the idea that I have, and Nick and I were talking to Gabe El Taiba about this last night, and the thing about it is, and he said, the comic book shop owner is your first customer. You have to be able to convince them that if we sell you this book, you will be able to sell it and you'll be able to make money. By doing what they did to this poor guy, they essentially said, we don't care about you. And again, these are the same people that are like, that have like said comics should go away from the direct market and not be sold in stores. They should go into like Barnes and Noble and Amazon, because no one really goes to comic book stores anymore.
Oh, they definitely do.
They do. They just buy other stuff other than comic books because
like
the material. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, at my comic book store, like they have a lot of comics, but that's not the main thing anymore. It's like Magic, Pokemon cards, Warhammer, all that.
Statues, Funko,
statues,
all that other stuff. All that other stuff. instead of comics, because they know that if they go straight comics, or even if they do go straight comics, it's all back issues because they're like, nope, we're just gonna go off of what's sold.
Actually, I was talking to
mm-hmm.
the owner, because I've known him for like 15 years ish.
Oh wow!
Because I played Magic. That's really like part of how I like accepted comic book too. Is I played Magic, and then I was always around all the like statues and stuff. But I was asking him, I was like, what are the comic books that you get like hyped about when you know they're coming because you know it's just gonna fly away? And he was like, everything that doesn't have DC or Marvel on it, unless it's Batman or Spider-Man.
Wow.
There's the only two. Yeah. And he was like, IDW sells good. Image sells good. He's like, all these indie books, they sell so good. He was like, I couldn't keep the TMNT series, The Last Ronin. He was like, every single one we got, all sold out. Every variant, all sold out. He's like, I could not keep that on the shelves at all. And he was like, Marvel book comes out, and if it's not Spider-Man or a Spider-Man related character, it doesn't really sell. He's like, sometimes X-Men does okay, but he said for the most part, a lot of these indie books are their main like selling points.
When have the tables have turned if that's starting to happen? Where now indie's more popular than Marvel and DC. Wow. And then Randy goes, good comics is like a bridge. If you build it, they will come. Yeah, exactly. Example, Superman, Wonder Woman. And again, New 52. Because look what happened when they rebooted the universe from square one, and gave you quality books. People showed up for that one. People show, and that's the thing. People always say, well, there's superhero fatigue, which doesn't exist. It's just, I know, but what you guys think about the whole superhero fatigue thing, but I think it's really, like we said earlier, just bad story fatigue. We don't want to spend, particularly with like the way the economy's going and everyone's being like a little more careful with money. They don't want to spend it on stuff that they're not going to enjoy. You have to make it worth our while somehow. And then Ian says, that's why I would love to see the New 52 combined with the Batman the Animated Series in the Justice League the Animated. Or you mean like the DC AMU, which explained everything off panel like idiots?
Yeah.
Like, that's just me. They did everything off panel. And I'm like,
it triggered Jared.
It always does.
Everybody.
Because I'm like, wait a second. Why did you break up Superman and Wonder Woman off screen? I get that if you didn't want to have them together for the purpose of the story, that's fine.
Oh boy, we got a Super Sons fan.
According to sales, you're wrong, and according to sales, Super Sons didn't exactly take off that well. I'm just gonna put that in. Let me put it this way: if Super Sons sold better and the movie did well, they would have de-aged John Kent. I'm 100% sure they would have.
100%.
Or as soon as Bendis left, they would have de-aged him. The reason why they allowed him to age him up and keep him that way is because he wasn't selling as a kid.
Exactly.
Because I got news for you. You can love Rebirth Superman. It wasn't that big of a sales juggernaut as people seem to think it was. Now, again, you could like the series. I'm fine with that. I was more of a New 52 Clark myself, but it's like it. But honestly, here's the problem with these companies. They're not focusing on what sells, and that's the thing. And it's now an argument if they should consider sales first. I'm like, they're a business. Right, David? They're a business. David, what's the purpose of a business?
Make money.
Exactly. There you go. I'm like, wait a second. I don't understand this. And they're like, well, they should only send out books that get good critical reviews. But those don't sell.
Sometimes they do. But a lot of the time, they're like, it's like, look at the critically acclaimed movies. A lot of them, I never heard of them. I'll watch them because the Oscars come out and you're like, oh, these look kind of cool. Or maybe some of these topics are interesting to me. But for the most part, those are not successful movies.
I have sales to reflect that because this latest Super Wonder Legacy episode was about the failure of a character that was John Kent. Allow me to share my screen. And by the way, thank you, Jubritch, for coming up with all this research. And this is based on like the last time that we were able to get sales from DC. So Super Sons got like 99,000. That's a good number. Then it collapsed to 51,000, just went downhill from there. And then Adventures of the Super Sons started at 36, which is horrible, and then just collapsed from there to like 17. Again, you could like the series. I'm not saying don't like the series. I'm just saying
that's bad.
Objectively, it's not a sell. It wasn't a selling book.
It's basically what Jared is trying to say. It bombed. That's what he's just trying to say.
Sales wise, it bombed, and that is why they did. Because again, if it had sold better, they wouldn't have let him age up John.
Yeah.
They wouldn't. That's just the way it works. I'm sorry. The Bendis created. Since when did it create a new timeline? It didn't create a new timeline. DC wanted Super Sons to succeed. It was canceled not because they wanted to, but because they had to. Yeah. To be honest, I'm working on my own DC story that I would love to get out in the world, but it would have to be official the way DC. I don't think they would accept it. They probably won't. I'm doing a fan story with Brit, and trust me, they would never accept this one with the crap we're pulling in this book. It's nuts.
DC won't accept a story that is really good anymore. Well, unless it involves Batman. That's like literally one of the only.
That's the only thing they fall back on.
They publish like 10,000 Batman books per month.
I don't understand why they're not willing to like take more risks with like their other characters, because those are the characters they should be risking. They shouldn't be like they shouldn't greenlight every single author to write whatever for Batman, because eventually you're going to dilute his like value to the company when you could be letting those authors take those like wild stories, like the new Jason Aaron where he's in space. Like that could have been Green Lantern, that could have been Superman, that could have been all kinds of characters.
Why is Batman in space?
Yeah,
I've heard good things about it, but why the hell is Batman in space? And by the way, Tahim, can you provide evidence?
I think you know what he's talking about is the merger between the two, New 52 and the old.
That wasn't in the Bendis era though. That was in Superman Reborn by Tomasi. And again, I don't like Tomasi, but that wasn't in the Bendis era. Live in denial. I just gave you the numbers. I just gave you the numbers, dude. I just gave you the numbers. You haven't given me a single ounce of proof. I'm just telling you that, dude. I've given you the numbers, which DC relies on.
And
there
you know
you
how
go.
we know? But do you know how we know that you're big Super Sons fan?
Because the minute we see the icon, we know you're biased, which is fine.
Yeah, and we're not saying that Super Sons is bad, because I personally really like the Super Sons.
More power to you, dude.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, don't tell me it sold, because it objectively didn't. It started. Right. The first issue did. I'm going to admit that. The first issue did, and I showed you that. But other than that, no. Hey, Daniel. By the way, Daniel, you're a member. If you want to join the panel, you come on. Let me know on Twitter. I'll send you the link. Hey, guys, Warner Brothers is selling DC stuff to other streaming services. I call Desperation. All right, you guys want to talk about that? All right, let's do that. All right, so here's the thing, and I'm going to call it this because it's basically involves this. Yes, I have the evidence. Go to Rainbow Press and Comics. I have an article on it. You do?
Put it in the chat.
Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Or DM it to me on Twitter. My Twitter should be there, and I'll pull it up and we'll talk about it. But I'm not a member anymore. Sorry. Oh, okay. But so, all right. Why is DC putting stuff on Tubi?
Because
they really ran out of steam. I don't know. Maybe they are desperate. Maybe it's exactly what he said. They're desperate.
No, it's not. It's not only that. It's basically because they're going for bankruptcy. Literally, over 60% for bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they're selling off thing to Tubi and Netflix and all this stuff.
What they should have done is, I don't know if you guys had the DC app before Infinite, or I don't remember the name before.
In the UK, we don't get the DC app.
Oh,
I know.
Okay, that's another thing they need to fix. That's another thing. But before, it used to have all the DC AMU, all the animated series, even the movies in the app, in that app. And that's what they should have just redone. They should have just been like, oh, we're going to change the app again and put all the DC movies in there. We're going to increase. I mean, they can increase the price, but at least you have all this content, like all the DC content. That's what I would have done if I was Zaslav.
We
and I
did.
wanted to make more money.
We did. It was called DC Universe. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was actually really cool. I don't know why they stopped that.
because I don't know, because they make bad decisions continuously forever. I don't know what Jim Lee does over there.
Wait,
Run to your Frank Miller terrible Dark Knight / Superman bad story writing. He did. Okay, that's fine. Insult other people stuff. That's fine. All right, whatever. You'll know when Warner Brothers is bankrupt when they sell DC at the best. Likely. Okay, I'm going to tell you this right now. With everything that's going on with DC, with Warner Brothers having an over 60% likelihood of declaring bankruptcy, with the statements of Stuber from Netflix saying, "Oh yeah, we'd love to license Zack's movies," and with Zack saying, "If Netflix licensed it, I'd do it." I think the likelihood just went up. I could be crazy,
plus the bankruptcy as well.
Yeah, the bankruptcy because they need money. That's the thing. Warner Brothers needs money, and basically what that means is that Netflix pays them in order to Netflix pays them to have the rights to make content based on that movie, based on those characters, and then Netflix assumes all the costs and stuff. And before you say they can't, they can. Have you seen what they drop on content? Lots of money.
Lots of stuff is on Tubi. Lots of stuff is on Netflix now.
But even that, so by the way, every DCEU movie's on Netflix, so that should tell you that right there.
Right now.
Literally, and furthermore, Tubi has the Superman film, the Batman film, and I have a couple of animated films too, which I find interesting.
Is Tubi free?
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, that's what I
It's
thought.
annoying because they put like 10,000 ads in it. It's almost worse than YouTube.
Yeah, it's worse than YouTube. Yes, of course. Anything is worse than YouTube, right?
Anything is worse than YouTube in terms of ads. That is correct. Anything, but it's a him. If you want to us to look at your article, just let me know where in your site it is because I'm at it. I just don't see it. But so the way I could see this happening, and you guys can let me know what you think. So also, Rebel Moon is coming out next week, which I'm so pumped for that.
I'm pretty hyped. Not gonna lie.
According to to my friend Nick from the Phoenix Press, and he agrees with me on this, is that what's likely happening is that they're waiting until they see what Rebel Moon does, then they'll approach Warner Brothers about licensing it. Because if they do that, can you imagine if they announce, okay, so in addition to James Gunn's universe, that I'm still not convinced is going to happen, you get this universe.
An Elseworld story.
An Elseworld story. He's like Matt Reeves do his thing.
Mm-hmm.
WB and DC has two choices, either adapt or die. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, adapting is not DC's strong suit. We've seen this in the past.
Or Warner Brothers' strong suit for that.
Or Warner Brothers, because let's face it, Warner Brothers has not been acting up to par. But Britt, what's up, Britt? Zaslav is licensing out stuff for more money, yet somehow still failing to make a profit. Thank you. Just look for Tom Taylor and Brian Bendis. It's in relation to Superboy. Okay, so I will do that. But in the meantime, so what do you guys think on the whole sell SnyderVerse to, license SnyderVerse to Netflix?
The licensing to the SnyderVerse to Netflix makes total sense right now. Warner Brothers is bleeding money. They know they need money. If they go bankrupt, that's it. It's game over for Warner Brothers. They will have to sell off the IPs at that point, right? And if when it happens, David Zaslav will look like an idiot. He'll be like, "Oh, I could have done this well beforehand," right? And furthermore, even the games division is also suffering. And I'm telling you, because if Suicide Squad bombs, that's it. That's it. There's no David Zaslav is not going to touch Suicide Squad ever again.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the Arkhamverse will have to be rebooted in some way, shape, or form. So, like David, what do you? David, right?
Yeah.
So So, like, what do you think?
I think even Zaslav is waiting to see what the Rebel Moon numbers look like, because Netflix is very public about like views and all that. And I think that he's definitely waiting to see what kind of audience Zach can get just by himself, because this movie is not tied to anything.
Yeah,
it's a whole new original IP, and if he gets like millions and millions of minutes, he's gonna definitely. I mean, the SnyderVerse is already there. I don't get why he's like, how much money will you give us? What is this even worth? I don't know. I definitely could see him selling DC to whoever the highest bidder is. And I even think that it could be like kind of a Marvel situation where they sell just one of the characters, like what they did with Spider-Man with Sony. I could see that happening to Batman, and I could see that happening to Superman, and I could see it happening to Wonder Woman. All three of them could go to different owners. I think he would like to keep them all together, but that's like a ton of money.
Exactly. And by the way, Tahim, I looked at the portions of your article that align with the whole other timeline. It doesn't start another timeline. All it did is Superman Reborn happened. It wasn't in the Bendis era. And they tried to, and that's where they like retconned where John was born. So he's born in the main DC universe. So it wasn't another universe. But anyway, yeah, I agree with you on that, because here's the thing to start with the whole Zack Snyder thing is like, yeah, this is proof, because here's the thing. They gave him this type of freedom because the Snyder cut came out and was huge.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, okay, so we can trust you. That's why I think if this comes out, you better believe they're going to do this. And before you say, well, James Gunn would never let them do that, Zaslav will, because remember, people keep forgetting Zaslav is his boss.
Yeah.
He's not the CEO of Warner Bros.
Wait, it's not only David Zaslav that's James Gunn's boss. Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca has the oversight of the movie division. Remember that?
I thought they made DC Studios
separate
from the movie
studio
division.
It's separate, but Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi sees like the movie side of it, if you know what I mean. So if you like,
I see what you're saying, but yeah, everyone was acting like he is now no one's above him. People are above him. So if Zaslav wants money, he's gonna say, we're doing this or you don't get your universe. James's boss is Zaslav. Thank you, Britt. All right, Britt, if you want to join us, I'll send you a link. But anyway,
come on the show.
Yeah.
If that happens, I'm getting Netflix. I already have it, but I will be keeping Netflix affirmatively. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm keeping.
So it did create a new timeline. Man of Steel action comics. You're only looking at half the art. Okay, I'll look at it later, but I don't really have time to go through the entire article. But I highly doubt it started a new timeline, because you would have heard about this in the.
It would have been on IGN. It would have been on different forum sites.
Yeah,
this would have been like death metal size news, like making a whole new.
I'm sorry, but here's the problem with that, because because it would have affected the other DC characters. It didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
You could say they retcon it. Yeah, that makes sense that they retcon him, but that doesn't mean that it started a new DC timeline. That's a very different thing.
There's two different things, yeah.
But anyway, back to this. Sorry.
Back to the Netflix stuff,
but the thing is again, so it was confirmed. It's also confirmed the Action Comics run. Okay, which number? You gotta give me citations, dude.
But back to Netflix.
Again, if you talk about Superman Reborn, that was Tomasi, not Bendis. But anyway, so go on.
But back to Netflix, though, I truly believe Netflix will get the rights to SnyderVerse, Zack Snyder's DC characters by January, February time, right? I reckon.
It'll probably be after part 1 of Rebel Moon comes out to like keep the hype going. They'll go, and we're doing the SnyderVerse.
And remember, he's doing the army stuff, the animated stuff. Remember that.
Yeah.
And his Norse god animated series, which that dude, I don't know when that guy sleeps, but that man is living his best life as an artist right about now.
What I don't understand about Zach is that what I don't understand is that other companies didn't see Zach as somebody that can make all kinds of different kinds of movies. Because I saw it as soon as I saw 300 the first time. I was like, this guy needs to make all kinds of stuff, and he didn't really. It's only like now, after he's created a bunch of movies, that these production companies are willing to take a big risk on him.
Yo, what's up, Sean Franklin?
What's up, dude? How you doing? But actually, you know what? It's kind of funny. It did. It's just the problem was that, again, Warner Brothers was dealing with an issue. It's called ego. Yeah. And because by all likelihood, what they should have done when the Snyder Cut came out and they saw all the excitement that people were having at the DC brand, finally, they're like, you know what? Let's just have him complete his. It's only 2 more movies.
Yeah,
it's not only the fact there's 2 more movies, it's literally making you money, reinvest in yourself. You got to invest in yourself to make money, right? That's like, think about it like this: if I was in David Zaslav's shoes, and I would just invest, right? Like people, for example, even in wrestling, right? The door isn't closed for WWE to be on the same network as AEW. That's an example, right? And it's basically, we don't know what David Zaslav is going to say because there's so many problems at Warner Brothers right now. So, but when it comes down to the DC stuff, he should just sell that off at this point, or license it out to Netflix, right? Give it over to Netflix. You can still do your James Gunn universe. Don't get me wrong. James Gunn can still do his universe.
No, we're not saying cancel that whatsoever.
Yeah.
But also, here's one of the main reasons why I want to see this finished. Prove to me that you can complete a story. Because so far, I have no faith that Warner Brothers can complete a DC story. I'm sorry, I just don't.
No, I don't.
It did affect other comics, Supergirl. Okay, so let me tell you this. Retconning events into John's past, like he did this before when we weren't looking, that doesn't create a new timeline. That's just adding to the existing timeline. That's not another timeline.
And only affecting the super family, isn't it? That's not like, it didn't affect Batman.
Can't forget Justice League. He's talking about Justice League fighting the League. It doesn't work. That's not what happened. I'm looking at your evidence. It doesn't add up to that. I'm sorry. The superhero genre, it's in a dire condition. Warner Brothers should sell DC to DC fans. I would buy it in a heartbeat if I had the money. Absolutely. I'd do a better job than they're doing. First off, all the writers are fired.
And I would keep Mark Waid, that's for sure.
Okay, I would tell him, get off Twitter. And then I would say, oh, by the way, I'm going to be monitoring all your Twitter accounts. If I see you attacking fans, you're out immediately. Your series is canceled, and you will never work in this industry again. And in terms of movies, James Gunn, cut all of the obscure characters until we can get some audience confidence in these in your DC movies. Like, I don't want to see Creature Commandos being the first project in your universe. What are you doing?
Waller.
Before you say, well, because James Gunn is making people show up. No one outside of comic book fans really know who James Gunn is. And Atchison, social media was the worst thing to happen to comics. Yes, exactly. Because it's like people are allowed to post lies. Like when people post stuff about Lois Lane being important, and then they just post like random panels that they didn't read, or like with comics history, or when the comics pros directly attack their fans. That's a problem.
Yeah.
They own DC. First thing would do would be to fire James Gunn.
I wouldn't fire him. I would definitely keep James Gunn if I was in charge.
Keep
of DC,
him, but on a very tight leash. You don't get the creative freedom you think you have.
I wouldn't put him on Superman. That's like not a character I would
put
him on.
No. Give him Booster Gold.
You could be the Suicide Squad guy. Absolutely. Run Suicide Squad, even though I hated that movie.
No. Run
that portion.
Wait. I got a better one for him. Booster Gold and Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
Any of the obscure characters, that works. Not Superman. Because Superman, you have to get right. Yeah. And if you put any of your dumbass humor, it's not going to work. It's not going to work because I don't want to hear fart jokes in a Superman movie. I'm sorry. And that's what James Gunn's known for. That's just the way it works.
And furthermore, if Superman Legacy bombs so badly, if it doesn't make 500 million, 600 million, that's it. It's game over for the DC, DCU. That's
Oh
it.
yeah.
It's pretty much done. This is why selling the Snyderverse to Netflix
Licensing. We have to be
Right.
clear on that.
Yeah, yeah.
Licensing.
licensing to Netflix makes logical sense because of the fact that it will make money, reinvest, jobs, create jobs, I should say, and furthermore, it'll make fans happy. Do you want to keep the fans happy, or do you want to be greedy and basically not make money at all? You got to look at it like this. That's because I'm telling David Zaslav hasn't got any clue about anything with his movies, video games, comics. He has no clue on any of that stuff. Even though he says he does, he doesn't. Because I reckon he's probably watched the Superman 78 film and probably told James Gunn to recreate that, right? I
In which
guarantee
case, that's gonna be bad. I'm not interested in those.
I bet you that's what he's probably told him to do, right? And when he said, "Oh, the Flash film is the greatest superhero film since The Dark Knight,"
Really? Really? Have you guys seen the Blade game trailer? I haven't,
Yes.
but
I
I've
have.
heard it looks good.
It
Yes,
looks
I
pretty cool.
have.
I mean, it's like 2 seconds long, and it's just like, oh, it's
It's
Blade.
great.
Like
I've seen concept art. I've seen concept art for that game. Looks
Mhm.
pretty cool. It's on
It
Twitter.
looks dope.
Arcane Studios.
I'm also really excited for Suicide Squad the game because from what I've heard, it's good. And you
it
know
looks
what?
good.
From people that I trust, like Teladia, who's played the game, he says it's fun. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm down. Let's do it.
Yeah. And
I
by the
am
way,
down.
WB, I did not break NDA. So
Nope.
it's pretty-
He just told me he enjoyed it. He just told me he enjoyed it. That's it. If you watch this, I mean,
Yeah, for
where's
real.
my
Exactly what Atchison's
well,
saying.
yeah, where's my Justice League game? Yes, thank you. I really
This is
want.
what it-
Can you imagine a co-op Justice League game?
That'd be sick.
That's
Too
not
mu-
like
too-
Avengers.
too-
I have to add that addendum right there.
it's too much of a risk for Warner Brothers right now.
Oh yeah.
Because they know that the Justice League brand was tarnished by He Who Must Not Be Named.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I would argue post Snyder Cut would have been the best time to do something with that because that redeemed the Justice League name right there.
No, but you got to remember, it takes 4 years to make a video game.
True,
Yeah.
true.
or longer.
Or longer.
longer.
Depends on it should take longer, but these people try and crap out a game. But
I mean, literally, right? Like the way I would do it is like, if I was doing after Suicide Squad, I would just like, okay, WB, whatever studio it is, make a Superman game, set it in the Arkhamverse, do it before the Suicide Squad game ever even started, right? Do it like how Batman Arkham was, right? Essentially like Batman Arkham Asylum, except for Superman, a closed environment. Get people interested in that, and then they could work your way up that way, right? And then you can build into a Justice League game, and then you can bring somebody else to play Batman. It would work that way.
So, Sean Franklin, have you played Justice League Heroes on PS2? I have it on Xbox.
Yes.
It's dope. I love that game so
Yes,
much.
I have.
I may start streaming that. That is a really, really, really fun game. Like,
And
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Teladia.
speaking about DC video games,
Yeah.
DC Universe Online will be having its major update Q1 2024. They've
So
just
it's
announced that.
finally getting that graphics update we've been waiting for.
Yeah, and they've announced it for Q1 of next year.
Sweet, I can't wait. We will be checking that out. If I own DC, the first decision, apart from fire James Gunn, would be to establish Superman and Wonder Woman as the official canon couple. I would do that, and
Yes.
Sire and the Sire of DC Comics and Justice League. Yeah, basically. Okay, so actually, you know what? That's a good idea, Daniel. Let's go around and see if we ran DC Comics, what would we do? Me personally, I would say we're doing a hard reboot. New Flashpoint style. Start fresh. Just that way we can, first off, get rid of all the bad decisions that have happened in the past 10 years, and then just reestablish everything and do it right. The only characters that probably wouldn't survive the reboot would be John Kent because he hasn't sold. Anyone that, in other words, reboot, what doesn't sell is going in the trash can.
Yes.
And then what I would also do which is what DC is doing now. So I'll appreciate that. I would do tie-in comics to movies and stuff, and because I think those do well, and it gives you like a little more story on that. Reboot and give it an official ending. That is true too. Kingdom Come, baby. I'm tired of this never-ending story crap. That's true. What would you do, David?
I would definitely cut down the amount of some of the characters' titles because there's way too many for some characters. I would even, it sounds controversial, but I would make the Bat family smaller, probably make the Super family smaller. And I know a lot of people would definitely not like that, but I feel like there's just way too many characters right now, and they don't even really get used when they are in books together. Like in Gotham War, there was a bunch of times where Cassandra Cain just like was there and didn't say anything for pages and pages.
You mentioned Gotham War. Oh God.
But you see what I'm saying? Like, how there's a problem with too many characters all the time.
Here's the thing. Why does anyone try and commit crimes in Metropolis when there's 5 Kryptonians protecting it? What?
You don't need 5 Kryptonians.
That's why the Flash. That's why the Flash family doesn't work as well. Who's going to commit crime when you have 5 super fast people? The Bat family works because none of them have powers.
Exactly.
Like, here's what I would do. Like, if I was in charge, right? I would do Superman, Kal-El, Kara Zor-El, Connor Kent, Crypto, Steel, and that's it.
So the good characters, the ones that actually
make sense.
Brett says John's origins changed multiple times to fit continuity, but it's still contradictory. In general, though, DC's continuity as a whole is a mess. That is true. Yeah, the Bat family's the only one that works. You can't have a family of metahumans because, particularly if they're concentrated in one city. Who is going to try and commit a crime? A good Superman movie for them is to balance his alien heritage and upbringing and limit the amount of screen time Lois Lane gets. Oh, you mean to 0? I would appreciate that. But Teladia, if you ran DC, what would you do?
I would do it like how the New 52 was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which was a hard reboot.
Okay.
But I would keep the main Flash, which is Barry Allen, right?
You could still have Wally have another name though.
Yeah. But the one thing I would change though is instead of the Wallace West, I bring the original Wally West into the New 52 universe, right?
Remember when that was the original, the Wally West, and then they realized that fans didn't like him, so they're like, how do we bring back Wally West?
That's why they did Rebirth, which kind of sucked because
Rebirth.
And I would also, what I do is I make the Bat family smaller, Superman family, of course, like I mentioned, how small that would be. I would also, the Flash family would just be Wally and Barry, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
What I might do is introduce the Chinese Superman, right? And bring him as a new character, right?
Yeah.
Right? The new character.
That's an interesting concept, Chinese Justice League, particularly because you can play off that geopolitical stuff. How about the Chinese Justice League fights our Justice League?
Yes, exactly. Or better yet, the Chinese Justice League, Chinese Superman, being Chinese Superboy instead of Superman, where he doesn't have the abilities of Superman, but he has the abilities of John.
That would be, or just give him his own damn powers. I'm sick of everyone having the exact same carbon copy powers as well, because no. Why are you doing that?
No, he has the powers of the New 52, Connor Kent.
Did he have any different powers than traditional Connor?
Yeah, telekinesis.
I thought Connor had that too in the post-crisis.
No, he did not. He did not have telekinesis, which was use the mind powers or what. He never had that.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, that would be cool. I would totally dig that. Daniel says that's why the Kryptonians are spread into the multiverse. 1 or 2 active Kryptonians per universe, and the rest are in Kandor in the Phantom Zone. Yeah, it's a fantastic idea.
I think I would keep John Kent though, but I think you can change him a lot to
make him the son of Superman and Wonder Woman.
Yes, please.
Actually, for my idea, I don't think that would work. He would have to be a son of Superman and a human, because you could also make it so he doesn't have any powers, or he just has very small powers, he can't fly. All he has is super strength. or something like that. Or
give
just
him the
laser
golden
beam.
age Superman powers where he can only jump.
Yeah, or something like that. And then he can be part of the Teen Titans and be with Damian more, because I think that they really had something with Damian and him together a lot. And you could make him maybe a pseudo member of the Bat family, or like, how does he fit into this world when he's not Superman and he's never going to like
Be Superman.
follow in his father's footsteps? He has to
Yeah.
be his own person. I think that would be an interesting way to keep him and also not age him up. That's like that was the worst.
Yeah, I'm
That was the
against
worst
I'm against changing someone's age, particularly off panel. I'm sure you guys have detected. Unless you show it to me, it didn't happen. But the other thing, the reason why I'm so anti-Rebirth, I'm so anti-John Kent, is because all these concepts were created, and Britt knows this, to throw New 52 under the bus and basically tell the New 52 fans, screw you. Hence why, like, they have Wonder Woman go to Lois. This feels true. And I'm like, wow, Tomasi, you're really laying it on thick, aren't you? Actually, it was Jurgens, but Tomasi's even worse because he put in a bunch of BS drama into the Superman Wonder Woman book. That's why Teladia and I are not covering it, because it
as soon as he came on board, I said to Jared, no, I'm not going to cover anything Peter J. Tomasi. He's the worst writer, in my opinion, the worst writer they did Superman.
Now, actually, for Superman Wonder Woman, yes. In terms of Green Lantern, he's really good. I'm fine with him on Green Lantern.
He's one of my favorite Batman writers ever.
And Batman, he's good on Batman. There were some great runs in Rebirth, but it won't stop me from saying, it was overrated. I will say the Green Lantern run with Jessica Cruz and Simon Baz, that was fantastic.
Yeah,
I will. Batman was pretty good. I enjoy the Tom King Batman run. I will die on that hill.
There's nothing wrong with that. Tom King is very talented. People just don't like what he does sometimes.
Yeah, because here's the thing: his depressing stuff that works for Batman because Batman's a depressed character.
Yeah.
So, that's when it worked. Also, Azzarello's Wonder Woman, that was a dope. I actually have a trade signed by him.
Ooh.
Britt says John only reason for
exists to become the next human stand here. Howdy, Jared, Teladia, and that other dude. It's David. Rebel Moon 8 days. Master Sergeant, if you want to join us, it's a member stream, so you can join us. We'll hang on. By the way, thank you for the $10 super chat, brother. But
yeah, thank you, Master Sergeant. I haven't seen you in a long time, my dude.
Yeah. But that's my problem with Rebirth. It was too vindictive. If they had been not like screw you, then I would have been a little more onto it. That it particularly in the Superman books, because in the Superman books and Wonder Woman books, it was all like Wonder Woman was with Superman because it was easy. When was that ever easy? Did you read the book? They had to fight Doomsday. He almost became Doomsday. With the Diogon and 5G obviously not happening, John doesn't have a role. That's why Philip Kenny Johnson is forcing his OC twins. Well, yeah, because they're there because guess what? They won't de-age John Kent, so they're like, how do we get the Super Sons without de-aging John Kent? Let's have Superman adopt 2 kids from Warworld.
Mind you,
Warworld Saga was dope.
I actually just got that trade.
And I will, that trade is like an omnibus.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell? I will say, I've enjoyed the Warworld Saga and Dawn of DC Superman books. Those have been great. Yeah, look at that.
Boom.
Look at that. It's He-Man Superman. Look at how thick that thing is.
It's really big.
But yeah, it's one of the coolest Superman stories of all time. That's why I'm a big fan of him. Zack Snyder told it, 1 Kryptonian per Earth. He was old enough to make Steppenwolf fear a direct invasion. Yeah, exactly. That's what's so great about the SnyderVerse, because the Snyder Cut is literally them saying the Apocalyptians never invaded because they were scared of Superman. He shows up. Yeah, they're very scared of Superman. Rebirth was the old guard, get off my lawn time. I love that, Brett. I love that. That's awesome. And that is my issue, because you can have great stories, and Rebirth definitely had some pretty, like Justice League versus Suicide Squad was awesome.
That's why the game is based off Justice League versus.
Oh, no.
I'm fine. I guess I got to cover that story then. All right, but but if they didn't go so hard into the anti New 52, I'd be more. Yeah, the New 52 is very spiteful and petty towards it. Yeah, exactly. That's why I was like, no, I'm not really indulging. In fact, that's when I got out of comics for the first time, because I was like, if you're gonna tell me to basically go screw myself, okay, I'm gonna go leave. I have school. I'm gonna go do that. Then you know what's kind of funny? Rebirth barely lasted a year.
Yeah.
It was like a year and a half, if I'm correct. And New 52 was like 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So I'm like, and I wonder why. But enough about me. So what do you guys think about the books that are coming out now? Anything you're excited for? Anything you are dreading? Wait, I got to ask you, David, what do you think of the new Nightcrawler origin and Marvel's apparent inability to understand how babies are born?
Oh, okay. So I've only heard stuff about that, but I don't know, man. Marvel just doesn't really know what they're doing. I think they've all lost their way. They
definitely all have. Yes. All they have to do is
hyped book that I think is coming soon is Ultimate Spider-Man. Like that's the only thing I'm hyped for from Marvel.
Can I say?
As for me, it's like
go ahead.
DC's Ultimate Universe, if it's happening.
That would also be sweet.
They kind of isn't Scott Snyder supposed to be working on that? I will say, Justice League versus Godzilla and Kong is really good.
Oh yeah,
but Transformers is awesome.
Yeah.
Daniel Warren Johnson Transformers is incredible. I'm like, thank you. Finally, some good Transformers. And then they start putting in the freaking G.I. Joes. So I'm like, what?
I heard that he's only writing the first 6 issues. Is that true?
I don't know. That is interesting. It could be he's like writing the introduction to the universe, and everyone else is gonna continue it. But regardless, I kind of wanted to stay on because first of all, his art style works for the Transformers. Yeah. That's the one complaint I have about Wonder Woman Dead Earth, because here's the thing about Wonder Woman. She's supposed to be the most beautiful woman of all time. And the way that it's drawn in his art style just doesn't work for that. It's great for like post-apocalyptic stories. That's all good there. Mm-hmm. It's just Nightcrawler's new origins is the evidence of how Marvel has achieved its lowest estate. Yeah, exactly. There you go. But in terms of like what I'm excited for, but probably more Superman, because I'm enjoying the Dawn of DC Superman with the whole Chains arc and all that stuff, and I'm really excited. Have you guys been reading Ram V's Detective Comics?
I read the first trade, and that was it. But I told myself, I was like, I'm gonna wait till this is like an Omni, because this is like
it's so good.
Yeah, like this is a series that I'm definitely gonna like, because if I buy the trades, then I'll buy the deluxe, and then I'll buy the Omnibus. So I bought it for like 3 times. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to wait.
But it's really, really good. Like, really good. And I've heard Beast World is actually pretty decent.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Mm-hmm. No, not for me. Beast World isn't for me.
All right. One day, somebody who actually cares about will make a good G.I. Joe movie adapted from the 1980s Real American Hero series. I'm waiting. Me too, dude. I want some G.I. Joe action. But the other thing that I'm really like pumped for is the eventual return of the Justice League book, because you know that's going to happen soon, and I'm interested to see what the lineup is going to be. Because beyond Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, let me ask you guys this: who would you want to be on the Justice League besides the obvious choices?
That's really hard.
I feel like the obvious choices are the best choices, though. I feel like
they are.
I feel like that Hawkgirl series, she's going to definitely be one of the people in it, even though that series isn't doing good and it's not very good.
I think it got canceled or something like that.
Yeah, but I still have a feeling that she's going to make her way onto that team.
Well, Hawkgirl I'm fine with, because she was even in the Scott Snyder run, and she was great in that.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, Hawkgirl was on the cartoon Justice League. I like that.
Exactly.
Oh, Big Barda.
Oh,
that is an excellent choice.
Or Mr. Miracle. Either one of those I'd be really happy with.
Either one of those is great. You should have some new gods in there, considering how many times you fight Darkseid.
Yeah.
What about you, Teladia? Who would you want to be on the Justice League? Impress me.
Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash.
Which Flash?
I would say Wally West.
Okay, that works.
But I would also bring into the fold Hawkgirl.
Okay.
And I would also bring into the fold what's it called? Cyborg.
That's cool. And by the way, Daniel asked, well, one tricky question for you guys. If you're in charge of DC Comics, do you replace Gal Gadot for a young actress for Wonder Woman? No, I don't. Moving on. What do you guys think?
No comment.
Would you guys replace Gal?
I
feel
can't.
like they're gonna. Like, it doesn't matter what I want. I feel like that's just gonna happen.
That's gonna happen anyway, regardless.
Well, sell the SnyderVerse to Netflix. We get 2 more movies with her. So an option could be how hilarious would be if Booster Gold ended up on the Justice League again.
What's his name? Blue Beetle. I feel like he's probably going to be on the Justice League too.
Yeah, Jaime, because of his movie, even though his movie didn't even do that well, even though the movie's actually really good, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, I could see that. What do you think the odds are of like Nightwing becoming a Justice Leaguer? Probably not, but maybe.
I would actually love if he was on the Justice League, or one of the Robins, like Tim Drake could have like an actual purpose if he was part of the Justice League.
Yeah, because actually, here's the thing. One of the problems with the Robins is that there's not enough to like distinguish, particularly Tim Drake. You put him on the Justice League, there you go.
Yeah.
He distinguishes. And how about bring back Oracle and have her be like the information broker for the Justice League, like she was in like the Grant Morrison run?
Mm-hmm.
I
also want one of the Lanterns on the league as well.
Which one would you have though? I would bring Jessica back.
I was just about to say that. I was gonna say I think Jessica would be really good because the Green Lantern story that's going on right now, like you could just keep it going and you don't have to have him like be anywhere near where the Justice League are, and she could be in his place.
Yeah, that's another book. Actually, Green Lantern and Green Lantern War Journal are really good right now. Like, wow, they are nailing Green Lantern. Thank you, because that's my 3rd favorite DC book. That has to work. It's doing so well. 2 more movies with Gal. 1, Wonder Woman 3. She's against Veronica Cale and Giganta. And 2, Superman, Wonder Woman with Henry Cavill. Yes.
That'd be so sweet.
Now, here's the question, and then we'll wrap up. Who do you think should be the villain of the Justice League run? We can't say Darkseid because that's the obvious choice.
What's the name of the, like, somebody from the New Gods, like somebody from that like realm, because they fought a lot of. I mean, I know they fight Darkseid like all the time, but you don't have to use him. You could even use some of like the Dark Knight's Death Metal or the Dark. What's the first one called? It's just called Metal, right?
Metal,
use some of those guys too.
Just bring in like evil versions of like all these characters. That would actually be kind of cool. They're versus evil versions of themselves. I'd come on the show, but you guys are educating me. I'd be useless except for eye candy for the chicks. Hey, we can always use more eye candy because we're 3 handsome men. Anti-Monitor. Okay, that's actually really good. By the way, I got the action figure right here. The McFarlane Anti-Monitor.
Ooh.
But yes, that would actually be kind of cool to fight the Anti-Monitor. The problem is that he's massively overpowered.
Yeah.
So, but I could say that'd be fun. It'd be fun. Yes, exactly. Well, yeah, because they would have had they continued the freaking universe. I don't know how many different ways they could say this. But so in terms of now, let me ask you this: what do you think? So since we're at the end of the year, and this is our last member stream for the year, what do you guys think has been the worst DC book or worst Big 2 book to come out this year?
This year? That backup story with Joker where he got pregnant. That was pretty bad. That was this year, right?
Yeah, I think that was this year.
I think there's like too many times where like I've seen. Oh, the what's their name? Oh, she's like green. Now she's with Lobo.
Green with Jade?
She's Lobo's like girlfriend right now. She was like, that comic just came out.
I don't know.
Anyways, their series is bad. Their series is really bad, and
Oh,
they
God.
like Superman showed up and they like told him to go away, basically.
Oh God. Oh, Gamora. Yeah, kind of. There you go. Or She-Hulk. He's just naming green ladies in the chat. Nice. I love that. She-Hulk.
She doesn't have green skin. Her outfit is green, but I can't remember her name.
Mhm.
Man, there was too many. There's too many bad comic books. That's the problem.
That's the problem. You can't really like narrow it down. You could say Tim Sheridan's Green Lantern. You could say that Joker
that Hawk
book.
Girl series.
The Hawk Girl
whole
series is
thing.
definitely up there.
The Krakoa's ending. Which is
Green Chick
good.
Lantern. You mean Jade? I love that. That's awesome. Let's see. Who else is Green Chick Arrow? I thought the
Star something.
I thought the Red Canary series was concept was kind of cool. It's just I think again, why is everyone getting a Swamp Chick? It's just Swamp Chick. Oh my gosh, that's good. But I think again, it's the problem again with Green Arrow is that everyone's getting a family. Why does everyone need a family? It doesn't.
These characters stand on their own.
This isn't Fast and the Furious. It's not all about family. I had to. But so let's see. What in terms of like what I think is the worst, probably.
Oh, Spider-Man at one point.
Anything written by Zeb Wells.
Yeah.
I read Superior Spider-Man. That was actually really good. Except again, it's going to be in my reviews. But my problem with Superior Spider-Man is it's another example of them trying to force Spider-Boy to be a thing. And I'm like, stop it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Spider-Boy. It doesn't make sense that Spider-Man has a sidekick this entire time.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I was just here. You don't remember me?
What? That doesn't work. But Zeb Wells Spider-Man is certainly up there. I got to say my least favorite thing, again, I didn't read it, but I heard it was bad, and I followed the plot closely, is that Hawk Girl book. I got to say that's up there, because I really like Hawk Girl. And then, yeah, that is just, oh my gosh, that is just horrible what they did. Because it basically exists for the writer to push their OC, to the point where they even had Batman show up and go, you belong here. And I'm like, what? What?
I hate
How
when
does
they
that
do
work?
I hate when they use a character you really, really, really like, and they tell another character, I like you. Like they tried to do that
I know.
before.
Am I the only one shipping Swamp Thing with Poison Ivy? Ooh.
That's a good one.
That's actually not a bad one, actually. Now that I think about it, you know what? I ship Swamp Thing and Poison Ivy now. That actually works really well. They both defend the green. They can be uniting their greenness. I like that. They must eat a lot of salads for dinner. Oh wow. By the way, the Swamp Thing show is actually really good, and I'm so glad it's on Tubi so I can watch it.
Yes.
Oh, I was wondering where to watch it.
That's the thing about Tubi. They do have a lot of good. They have Krypton.
Damn.
I've been watching Krypton finally because it was on Sci-Fi, and then I couldn't find it anywhere else. Now I also low-key ship Swamp Thing and Ivy. Do we call it Swamp Ivy or something like that? I don't know. What's the ship name of Swamp Thing and Poison Ivy? Swivey.
Swivey, yes, I like that. I like
okay, I'm calling it Swivey. I am declaring I am the Lord of Comics. It shall be known as Swivey. There you go. So I think that is pretty sure in Justice League Action there was an episode where Ivy had a crush on Swamp Thing. They won't do it, unfortunately, because they want Ivy to be with Harley Quinn because of the show and all that stuff. So, man.
That show's coming back for another season. I don't know how that happened.
I hate that show with a passion. I watched the season up until it got to the Valentine's Day episode, and I was like, the minute they start having public orgies in the street, I'm done. I'm out. I don't want. I'm sorry when I see something that has the DC logo, I don't want to see an orgy. That's just me.
Not rated for kids. Basically.
Not rated. It doesn't matter, and that's the thing. That's my problem with Peacemaker, because I don't like going to a DC superhero show where every other word is the F-bomb and they're making bad jokes about the Justice League. I get that's part of his arc, but it's a crappy part of his arc and I hate it. I only
And
watched it because I wanted to give it the
no,
full shot.
and by the way, this is no disrespect to John Cena, because John Cena's a great actor, right?
He was actually pretty good. It's just I don't like the writing, and that's
It's,
Peacemaker is why
It's the whole
I'm
thing.
not entirely on board of James Gunn Superman. Master Sergeant with another $10 super chat. Jeez, dude. Dawn of the sequels, dude. I have to kill my JLA omnibus reading. Can't do it. The blue Superman is too off-putting.
Oh, No Man's Land is so good.
It's so good though. But I think Blue Superman doesn't last that long. I don't think, right? How long if that run does a Blue Superman last?
I think he's there for like 1/3 of it.
Mm-hmm. He's not there for that much. Harley Quinn goes, Harley Quinn. Daniel goes, Harley Quinn shows a scar in the face of DC. Now I hate that show. Britt says Fire and Ice. Is that a series that you're not liking?
That's what it's called. No, that's the one that I said with the Lobo. I'm pretty sure that's the name of that series.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, that's not good. I don't like that one.
Like Superman showed up and was like, "Hey, you can't just be beating up like innocent people," and they're like, "Go away." And I was like, "What is this? Who?"
I don't understand this. It doesn't make sense. Exactly. I'm like, I have like the first couple of issues of that series just because I was curious. Boy, am I happy I'm not picking that up. Boy, am I happy that's not on my pull list. I only have good books on my pull list. I'm like,
Jared's got good taste.
I do have excellent taste, which is why I'm a super wonder shipper. But so I think that's a good place to leave it for this year. Everyone, by the way, this is awesome that this was the first year of doing member streams. We will be doing more of those. And next week,
cool
yeah, we're going to do it. And everyone else become a member for as little as $1 a month. Yes, thank you. For as little as $1 a month, you get to hop on these panels with us.
Yes,
and then go ahead.
I'd also like to make an announcement that next year, 2024, I will also be doing members panels and whatnot, like Jared.
Yeah,
and
they're awesome.
And we'll be talking about gaming and DC comics, and we'll be covering stuff like that. It'll be pretty cool to have you guys there in the chat to come show support to myself and Jared, because we'll be covering New 52 stuff. We'll be extensively talking about that.
All the good stuff. So before you ask, we're not covering Teen Titans, we're not covering Convergence, and we're not covering Future's End. Master Sergeant says, I just said I was okay with it, by the way, but by the time Peacemaker, I'd come to peace. The DCU was dead, and I probably had all I was going to get from Snyder's epic story. We'll see. And it says a lot that I would rather watch an outdated Super Friends cartoon than any modern Justice League show, with the exception of the Snyder Cut. Yeah, exactly. It's not interesting. But yeah. And in terms of what's coming out, again, we're talking about Dawn of the Dead on movie night. We have Comics League Dark tomorrow night at about I'll confirm probably the same time as this. And we'll be talking about all the Snydery news, all the Rebel Moon news, and we'll have a couple of other bonus topics to talk about. In terms of Super Wonder Legacy, Britt and I are talking about our favorite Superman and Wonder Woman battles, so be on the lookout for that. Indie Wednesday, I'm talking about Transformers. And next week's Under Two Capes, I'm making an executive decision. We're going to fix the Birds of Prey movie.
Oh my goodness.
Because we just recorded Under Two Capes today, which was fixing the Flash. We're going to do a series for fixing all the bad superhero movies.
And games.
It wasn't that the DCU was anything. It was just like Gunn's humor take on Peacemaker. Read the post-crisis Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle. Peacemaker shows up on that. He's actually really cool. I don't like James Gunn's Peacemaker. I like the comics Peacemaker more. But that's just me. But Teladia, where can we find you, and what have you got coming on your channel, dude?
So you can follow me on Twitter at Teladia Plays _ and on YouTube at Teladia Plays. I will be doing more New 52 New 52 Justice League coverage, as myself and Jared and Jay Heat will be covering issue 3, and also I'll be doing collabs with Jay Heat this week. Not tomorrow, Saturday at 7 p.m. Before we do movie night, we'll be talking about the Game Awards, and we'll be talking about Budokai Tenkaichi 4, or otherwise known as Dragon Ball Z Sparkling Zero. So we'll be talking about that, and it'd be great to see you guys there on all the stuff that I do on my YouTube page. And also make sure you check out Jared, and make sure you subscribe to him. Go show him some support on all the stuff that he does. He's been a great host, great friend, and I would recommend also
Thanks, Ryan.
check out David's on his Twitter as well. Go follow him too.
How about you, David?
You can follow me on Twitter at junk_surfer. Eventually, me and my friends, we're going to make a Pokemon TCG YouTube. It's still in the works. We don't really know exactly what stuff we want to cover yet, but we'll let you know.
And thank you. And we appreciate the support, brother. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Again, we'll do more of we're definitely going to keep this going in 2024. And then in 2024, we're going to start doing member game nights where we can hop on to like play DC Online, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, maybe even Halo, and we'll just game together and just pass the time occasionally. So more on that. In other words, 2024 is really where I start to expand what the memberships do. And by the way, you already have your first supporter, David.
Yep.
And yeah, if you want to, if I can be of any help, just let me know on this. 10 watching and 4 likes, do it. Yes, exactly. So, all right, everyone, stay heroic, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye. And remember, Lois Lane sucks.